The fourth presenter for our contest is Mr. Kei Sato. Please start.
Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, an architect in Germany, said, "Less is more." This means being simple is beautiful and attracts people, such as a rock garden in Kyoto. By focusing on the essence of a thing, it will lead you to be satisfied. We will apply this way of thinking to disaster recovery. This is a church. What do you think it is made of? The answer is paper, called paper tubes. Yes, we can make some buildings by using these paper tubes. So today, let me talk about the simplest combination of paper tubes and shelters. We call it emergency shelters made of paper. This great combination was developed by a Japanese architect named Shigeru Ban. It definitely plays a key role in recovering from the damage of disasters. There are three reasons why it is fundamental to disaster recovery. First, it's economical. Second, it's safe. And finally, it's permanent. Now, let me present these three elements respectively. First, economical aspect. This is a familiar type of shelter in Japan, but it has a very big problem. It costs too much. It amounts to 2.4 million yen for a family just to make a shelter itself. The cost doesn't include the repair of the lifelines, such as water or electricity. What is worse, it needs additional cost of about 1 million yen for each to be dismantled. On the other hand, if we make the same size of a shelter by using paper tubes, less than 100,000 yen is enough. It costs only about 5% of traditional shelters if we use paper tubes. It is very economical. What is more, even if it is disassembled, it can be rebuilt in other places. For example, this church was made in Kobe after Hanshin Awaji earthquake. Later, this was disassembled and now in Taiwan. Our goal is not only making paper buildings, but also when they are dismantled. Once almost all buildings in modern societies are broken up, they are not to be recycled anymore. Instead, paper buildings are able to, like this church. Next, let me talk about the safety. Here's a picture of a school gym after a big disaster. It is a chaotic situation. There's no privacy and no security. According to research conducted by Fukushima University, around 70% of the people say it is stressful. However, if you simply put the paper tubes and curtains, the situation will be much better instantly. So protecting privacy is crucial to be less stressful. Then, if the paper shelter stands outside, some people may doubt it is useful when exposed to water or fire. But no problem. We can make it waterproof and fireproof. Paper as structure is so thick and well processed that it can prevent water or fire. And we can also make some larger buildings, such as a school and a church, and small one like this chair. In order to lead a normal life again, it is not enough just to make living places. People need some facilities, such as a school and a church, especially in religious areas. So making community centers is also necessary to lead a safer life. Finally, let me talk about the permanent aspect. Many of you may be casting a doubt on why paper buildings are permanent. But actually, durability, or how long a building lasts, is not relevant to materials. Even if it is made of concrete, it is easy to collapse when it is poorly built. At the same time, even a paper building is difficult to collapse when it is well built. Actually, the paper church on the right stands for more than 10 years. So the point is, how to build it. Not only that, making paper buildings creates strong human connection. Residents just after disaster don't have anything to do. They often feel uneasy, hopeless, and apathetic. So it's very essential to involve the local residents to encourage them. There is an old saying about poverty. Give me a fish, and I'll eat for a day. Give me a fishing rod, and I'll eat for a lifetime. This means the most important thing is not the temporary aid, but the know-how. The same thing can be applied to the situation where we face disasters. Helping should not be one-sided, but interactive. So instead of saying, depend on us and take a rest, we say, can you give us a hand? We need your help. It will relieve their helplessness. It is indispensable to share the hope and share the permanent ways to recover from disasters. The project is widely taken in foreign countries such as Haiti and India. Unlike Japan, some countries don't have enough access to materials. Some people have to cut trees to make shelters, but it leads to the destruction of nature. Instead, paper tubes are easy to get and not to damage beautiful nature. This is a process of making paper tubes. Paper tubes are made from completely recycled paper, so no need to cut trees. What is more, no dioxin emission. Then you can get paper tubes. It is also very eco-friendly. My dear audience, please remember the most disturbing thing is fallacy. The fallacy that paper is too weak to make buildings, but in fact, much stronger than you think. So from now on, change your attitude like this. Less fallacy leads to more safety. We believe this is also the meaning of less is more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. And now we'll go to the judges for questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. A couple of sort of slightly technical questions, possibly. Paper tubes are obviously available readily, but after you make them fireproof and waterproof, are they as eco-friendly as they started? Would be my first question. Second one, in all of the structures that we saw, I didn't see any cardboard bathrooms.
Okay.
How would that work?
The first question is about the easiest way, one of the easiest ways to make paper tubes waterproof and fireproof is to just make this bigger and bigger and thicker. Many of you imagine paper is too slim, but like this, paper tubes are actually very thick, like wood. So this is one of the easiest ways. And if we more deeply waterproof and fireproof, just like using a special coating just using special coating, not special techniques to make this waterproof or fireproof. So this is not more expensive or not more environment damage to environment. So this is my first answer. And sorry, second question is about
bathrooms and toilets.
Okay.
I know there are paper tubes in many bathrooms and toilets, but not built out of them.
Actually, it doesn't need for us to use paper tubes in that kind of situation. There are many other types of materials by many cheaper things like plastics or less cheaper than the concrete or some other things. So as a saying goes, the right man for the right job. So you can say the right thing for the right price. So this is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we have our second question.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Sato. I have one a bit also technical question. You have mentioned that this paper building, for example, last 10 years in one of your slides. But I wonder if you have a bit more scientific evidence in order to support the strength of the paper building, because last 10 years doesn't really say it's really safe and strong enough. Did you actually did you find a bit more scientific evidence in order to support the strength of this paper building?
Okay, for example, this is the paper tubes, and put this on the floor, and even the track on this thing, it can never change. So like this, very strong, and even the track on the paper tubes, it never changed the shape.
How about just one kind of follow-up question? Have you seen any kind of result of the test of the building in terms of the earthquake shocks? Like often in a disaster, earthquake-affected area, people suffer from aftershocks, sometimes for the 2 years. Then shelter needs to be strong enough as well. Then I just wonder if you, since you are looking at the strength of the paper buildings, did you see any test of these paper buildings, tested according to the, shake tables?
Actually, there are many experiments on the internet, and many of you can see on the YouTube. And actually, I have a teacher who studied this kind of project, and I consult with him, and he explained the kind of experience by using their studies. And so I have seen many experiments on TVs or from my teacher. And actually, this is the most important thing is we don't need to make these paper buildings more usable forever. Like the most important thing is when we make shelters is the time. We should make buildings as soon as possible, just after a disaster happens. So in this regard, paper tubes are very, very economical and very, very useful than any other materials, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll go to the audience for a question. We have the gentleman in the back here on the right. I don't know if that's the same.
I'm Masaki Mabuchi from University of Tokyo. And actually, I did the same presentation for the same topic as you. But I should admit that your presentation was much better than mine.
Thank you.
And I just want to ask you one question. Does the paper tube have the ability to shut down the noise from the outside?
I'm sorry.
Can the paper tube shut down the noise from the outside?
Shut down
the noise.
Noise? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Actually, it is very difficult. So as I said, the right place for the right material for the right place. But paper is very, very useful for us to move. So if you have an idea to make paper buildings in some grounds, the easiest way to shut down the noise is just to make buildings while taking distance. So it is very, very, so great ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Sato, for a very
Thank you.
insightful presentation.